right, so I'm in the van. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. I went down and talked to Ken down there at Performance 4-Wheel Drive. He's positive, he says to me, that that axle shaft that's inside the front diff that the CV slides over, says that's okay. He's adamant that the issue is strictly the CVs. Says, you know, that Chinesium stuff. So basically it wears in there, and you get a little bit of play in there. But he says it's okay. He says it's fine to drive. He sees it all the time on S10s that are wheeled pretty hard. He says he sees it a lot worse. He said my idler arms are weak, and we all know that's a thing with these vans. And then there's a guy over here with too much bass. You could probably hear it on the... It ain't me, obviously. I'm an idiot. Makes me want to roll the window down and tell him I don't want to hear your music, man. He looked angry too. He just looked angry. You can't listen to that bump, 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 and be happy. What's up with that? On the way down there, my Lyft driver, her name's Deja. Oh my God. She could be a model, man. She was so pretty and really sweet too. We had that conversation for a moment there, a little bit. We talked about a lot of stuff, but a part of it was the music. It's terrible music today. But anyhow, so it's all good news. I don't have to spend any money right now. Ken is, it's funny, it's a 4-wheel drive shop, but he's gotten super busy just doing differentials for people. So much so, he's so swamped, he doesn't really have the time to do that front axle swap. However, he told me that once I get everything together and figure everything out, to, you know, get in touch with him, because if I catch him where he has a window of opportunity, he could be willing to do it for me. Let's all cross our fingers and help to make that happen. Positive vibes, man. And yeah, so I'm happy, right? But yesterday was 5 hours at the shop where I didn't allow myself to get into the woodworking. I did other things because I didn't want to set up the shop and then I was 5 hours waiting for the tow. It just wrecked the whole day, and it pretty much wrecked the whole week. Today was a similar situation. I went to the shop just to do some stuff, figuring that Ken would call and get me the van pretty quick, and that's kind of what happened. I went to the shop, did some stuff, didn't feel like setting it up for the woodworking because I wasn't sure how the rest of the day was going to go. And I rode a bike home and ate lunch, and then right when I was done with lunch, I got the call. So everything worked out good, but now it'll be probably close to 3 by the time I'm at home. And I don't know that it's worth going to the shop to set it up to start milling lumber. So I'm losing a couple days today. Now, I've got to go get material for her to do this for her, my client. Because you guys know I'm working on this thing called a butler's pantry. So I've just been, as I could over the last couple of weeks with the holiday and everything else, I feel like I've lost a lot of time on it. I have. I'm behind and it's bothering me. But the point of the process I'm in is complicated because I'm just milling lumber. I got to get everything to the right thickness, and you know, I'm pretty much there with that. So hopefully we'll be making parts soon. However, she wants me to do a wood ceiling in her office, shiplap, like what I did in the downstairs. You guys have seen it in the old video where the butler's pantry is going to go. I had to do it there because that ceiling was so out of whack. I had to get a flat, relatively level surface so that when I build the new cabinets, and they're put in and everything's trimmed with crown molding, it looks right. You don't want to have your ceiling on an angle and have crown molding wrapping that and trying to get that kooky angle where it meets the miter. I mean, it's just a nightmare. Plus it looks like garbage. So anyhow, I got to do the same sort of thing for upstairs. So I got to go buy that. I got to go select it, hand select every board. I think I need close to 30 of them. I got to do the math again. And then bring that all to the shop, pre-cut the lengths, oversized, sand all that out, wet it all down, sand it again, prime it out, hang it, and then spray it. So that's the process with that, which is good because that's a separate issue. And I can make a couple more bucks, and I could use the coin because I've been shelling out coin, as you guys know. But that's just giving you a heads up of what's going on with all that stuff. The point with the van is, that's what this really is. Deja threw me off, man. I used to being around a pretty girl, you know. I probably just. It's a thing when I was young. Yeah, like when you're around somebody you're really attracted to, at least for me, I just sound like an idiot, man. It's just so funny. It's very funny. And it was good, you know, that lift ride, and then the lift ride I had, whatever it was, a week or so ago when I had the rear end done. That was a really cool guy. Talked to him. I feel like I probably helped him out a bit with some good advice on things. And both of those conversations were great. It's nice to meet somebody new and have a good talk. Because, you know, I talk, I have friends, you know, but I don't go out much anymore. And I don't have a lot of people. I don't really hang out with anybody here in LA anymore, in California at all. I mean, the couple dudes I'm pals with, they're like me in the respect that, you know, they got to make money one way or another, but then they also have other things that they're doing, like building stuff, cars or bikes or whatever it is. So all of us, you know, our time is pretty much consumed. So, but some of them are married and everything else. So when you're in a situation like me, and this is not a woe is me thing, not looking for any sympathy here, but when you live alone, you work alone, you don't have anybody to blow off any steam with and just like get the process of your day out or anything else. I think that's why a lot of people who are alone probably get into the substance abuse issue, you know, because they don't have an outlet to blow off any steam. I guess you could do that with the gym or working out or whatever, you know, that would be healthy. But so anyhow, it's just nice to have a good meaningful conversation with new human beings, which happens to be one of my favorite things. Which brings me to another point here. There's going to be some interviews with the channel. I've already been lining some things up. Actually, I had to talk to a guy yesterday. We were just leaving each other text messages. It's a guy I haven't seen in a while. He was a very interesting guy. He's a funny guy. A little too obnoxious for me personally, like to hang out with on a regular basis. But he was a fair weather friend back in the day. But, you know, I like the guy, don't get me wrong. He's a cool dude. And into some very interesting stuff. Very cool stuff. And he's got a shop where he's doing some really neat things. And I think you guys would dig that. So I want to go over there. And then my boy Chad, where I got the Seiko from, we're going to do some talking too, and that's going to be fun for you guys. That should be a good time. And that's kind of one of the things I've been wanting to do is venture more into, like, peppering a little podcast-esque-ness. Boy, that should be like your ID to get on something. Podcast-esque-ness. Anyhow, there's going to be some of that. Because aren't you guys getting tired just listening to me talk? I think you guys would get a kick out of the interaction I have with the people I like the most, because it's men being men, saying some pretty horrifying things to one another for the sake of a chuckle. The way men used to be. You know what I'm saying? So I want to bring that back. You know, we need to bring, you know, masculinity back. Because we're being emasculated, man. Anyhow, I hope you guys will enjoy that when it happens. It'll happen sooner than later. But again, good news. I got to figure out this CV thing, though, you know. There's probably a manufacturer that, because there's a lot of different people that manufacture these CVs, and some have to be better than others. So I got to go down the rabbit hole on that. Ken did tell me if I could find the original CVs, maybe out of another older Astro van in a junkyard or something. I don't know how to determine if they're the original GM ones. Maybe you guys could tell me that, what to look for. I'll figure it out. But he said if I could get the original GM ones, it's worth rebuilding those. He says those are better than getting the new aftermarket ones. So I will keep an eye out for those. And if it's easy, I'm still going to go with the straight axle swap. That's going to happen. But in the interim, I don't have a problem making this a little bit better if it's not going to cost me an arm and a leg, right? Plus, you guys can learn this stuff, and if you're not going to go the route I am with the, my lift is more extreme. I'm running a 32-inch tire, right? Most of you are not going to do that. I recommend you don't. I recommend you stick with like a 30-inch tire, stick with your factory 342 gearing, go with a little bit of a lift, and go have a good time. You'll have a lot less issues. You won't have a lot of the issues I'm having. So, but I'm going to go this route. I'm going to look for a pitman arm. I think I told you, he said my pitman arm seems a little loose or worn, and my idler arm. So I'll replace those parts. I've been thinking about that anyhow. I got a whole new steering box I've been thinking about putting in. I got to rebuild the, I keep mentioning this, I got to redo the Hydro Boost as well. So all this is going to happen, and you'll see it when it does. But that's it for now. You guys have a great day. Remember to be good to one another. That's the number one thing, is be kind. Have that little mantra in your brain, because you might be having a bad day, but you can remind yourself to still be good to other people. Your bad day usually has nothing to do with the interactions you're having in a moment of time where somebody's worst impression of you may just be based on you having a bad day because you're in a bad mood from some other jerk, You have to take everything out on everybody around you, man. Keep that in mind too. When you meet somebody and they seem like they might be a jerk, they could just be having a bad day, man. Somebody looks just like you could have done that person wrong. You never know. Stay positive, be good to one another. I'll catch you guys in the next one.